Welcome back to another Bolt tutorial. Now, let's say the tool that you're building has some important criteria that it needs to adhere to ensure that your project is successful. For example, if it's an engineer scheduling tool, you got to make sure that engineers are scheduled no more than 4 days a week, or they can't do 2 adjacent shifts. Let's call this important criteria your business rules. Now, because AI agents don't have an infinite context window, and as your conversation goes on, they're going to compact some of the past learnings. Also, if you learn how to use the clear context command properly, shown in this video above, you're purposely clearing the context. So how do we ensure that the agent acknowledges and adheres to these rules throughout the lifespan of our project? In this video, you're going to learn how to use these business rules and bring them into your project by saving them as Markdown files in the project root, and then also referencing them every single time you make a prompt using the AI agent using the project knowledge. So let's dive right in. It comes down to 3 main things. Firstly, you need to have the business rules clearly articulated. Secondly, you need to make sure that they're written down in a Markdown file so that the agent can reference them. And thirdly, in your project knowledge, you need to give the agent awareness of this Markdown file so it always references it going forward. For this demo, we're going to build a project from scratch. So let's have a look through our initial prompt. Our task is to build an internal engineer scheduling tool to help the administrators schedule engineers for on-call shifts each week. It should have a dashboard, a schedule with engineers in the database. So here's the first part, articulating our important business rules. So firstly, it is essential that at least one senior engineer is scheduled at some point each day. They could do a morning shift or an evening shift. The second business rule, an engineer should never do both the AM and PM shift, only one shift per day. And thirdly, an engineer should not be scheduled for more than 4 shifts per week. So here's the second part of the process. We've added memory and context persistence. So we wanted to add a rules Markdown file to the project root, documenting all business rules as numbered, immutable constraints using must and must not language. Include a brief rationale for each rule. These rules must never be violated or relaxed without explicit human approval. Now, it's also good practice to include a project outline Markdown document and a changelog as well. Here comes the third and crucial part of this. We want to update the Bolt system prompt to one, instruct the agents to consult this rules Markdown file before any changes to scheduling logic. So going over those again, the first thing we've done is we've articulated the business rules. Secondly, we want it to remember this by creating a Markdown document. And then third, we want the Bolt system prompt to make reference to this Markdown document with every command. I've pasted that initial prompt here within the Bolt builder. I've chosen the Opus 4.6 model and I'm going to put it in plan mode. The plan's all complete. There are no clarifying questions. It all looks good. So let's implement the plan. The agent's finished building, and isn't it incredible what it's been able to create just with one command? Let's have a quick look through this. It's created what looks to be like an interactive dashboard. We've got our schedule page here where we can, change through the weeks and go back to today's date. Now we can also assign engineers. So here we go. It looks like it's added a junior and a senior tag next to each of the engineers. Let's see what happens when we add some junior engineers here. Now it's looking like it's already alerting us that one of those business rules isn't correctly addressed. So we've got 2 junior engineers assigned. Oh, looks like it could be improved here. This overlay isn't fully sticking out properly. So it looks like the dropdown isn't actually coming out of the parent component. So let's quickly fix that. On the scheduling page, when I'm assigning an engineer, the dropdown to select the engineers should be taller, revealing more engineers. And also it shouldn't get cropped off once it goes below the bottom of the parent component. It looks as though it's currently contained within the parent. Great, so it looks like that's all fixed. Now we'll continue on, junior engineer. So this Monday only has junior engineers, and notice it's already alerting us saying that it's violating one of the business rules because no senior engineers has been scheduled. Let's check out how it manages business rule number 2. So we'll try to assign Isha to both an AM and PM shift, and notice it's not even letting me assign them. So there we go. It's adhering to business rule number 2. Let's continue on with number 3, saying that they can't do more than 4 shifts per week. And yes, they've been removed from the choices here. So the front end is successfully adhering to these business rules, but we want to make sure that as we continue to build this project, it remembers this over time. So let's have a look and see how well the agent has actually added this into the rule document. Here in our code base, we can see rules, Markdown. Here we go. Rule number 1, must have at least one senior engineer. Rule number 2, 1 shift per day. Rule number 3, maximum 4 shifts per week. Great, so it's articulated the business rules exactly how we wanted it to. Notice how it's used very specific vocabulary describing them as immutable constraints, which is being very specific to the AI agent, which helps it understand its task at hand. Now that we have this rules Markdown document, we want to be making sure that the AI agent is actually referencing this every single time. Now, there are 2 ways we can look at the project knowledge. First of all is if we come and we open the knowledge settings, here we go. We can see the project instructions has been updated. This is different from what a typical project creates. And notice how it's added this scheduling logic governance. It's making reference here to the rules Markdown document. The beauty of this project knowledge is the agent will reference it every single time. So it means upon every single command going forward, even if you've cleared the context, it'll make sure to treat this as a single source of truth for business rules. Before making any changes to the scheduling logic, you must consult the rules Markdown document. The other place that we can find this project knowledge is if we come here into Bolt itself and we can see the prompt. Notice that this is exactly the same as when we were looking here at knowledge. The beauty of having this prompt directly within the file structure is 1, it's version controlled, and 2, it means the agent has direct knowledge to it. And as you just saw, we've been able to use the agent to update its own system prompt. So let's see these business rules in practice. Now, notice I'm trying to assign Aisha to their 5th shift. The business rules say I can't, but perhaps I'm a new member on the team and I'm not aware of this, and I think this is a bug in the system. So now I come in and I prompt Bolt. I say, I don't see Aisha Patel when trying to assign them to a Friday shift. I should be able to add all engineers to a shift. Now, because the Bolt agent can query the database and also has understanding of these business rules, it says Aisha Patel already has 4 shifts this week. So the validation correctly blocks the 5th assignment. That's business rule number 3, max 4 shifts per week. So there we go. Now the agent has full awareness of these business rules. And even when you clear the context, just like this, because we've added these business rules into their own Markdown file and we've added this to the project knowledge, the agent will always have awareness of these important rules going forward. So there we go. You've learned how to implement important criteria into your project so that the agent always takes this into consideration while it's building out your project. You now don't need to worry about telling it the important things more than once, as you can save this and use that for the rest of your project build. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If there's any content in particular that you'd like to learn about, please leave it in the comments below and we'll do our best to get to it. And with that, keep on bolting.